Hello Design, I are Smart, and today I would like to talk about the Ahsoka series, and more specifically the finale, but I'm going to be talking about the series as a whole. But before we get into that, I'd like to ask you a question. Does something being popular make it good? Now think about that for a second, because you see, there are a lot of things that I would say, that are good, and they're going to attract a lot of popularity. That makes sense, right? But the thing is, we kind of conflate the two. We kind of think that just because something is popular, that means it's good. But I like to give you this example. McDonald's is very popular. It's a very popular restaurant that a lot of people go to. But does that mean it's good? I would say it's not, because the food there is, it's fast food. You eat that all the time, it's not going to be very good for you. And it's made to just be quick and appeal to a large number of people. That's why it's popular. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's good. There are a lot of examples I can make of things that are popular, but not necessarily good. Anyway, I think you can see where I'm going with this. The Ahsoka show is popular, but I don't think it's good. So how about that finale? Yeah, I sure do love cliffhangers that just don't answer most of the questions I have. Don't get me wrong, some of my questions were answered in this. But I'm on the side of the argument that's like, yeah, this finale kind of sucked. To be fair, it was better than I expected. I expected like Mando Season 3 level of terrible finale. But, some cool stuff happened. But you know what isn't cool? The Empire being incompetent. Again. In so many examples. In not just the finale, but the whole series as a whole. I'm just so sick of it. Why do they keep making the Empire so stupid? Even Thrawn, the genius tactician, keeps doing stuff that just doesn't work in this series. He's supposed to be some brilliant tactician who can do anything. But still, he keeps letting stupid stuff slip by him. And it's just like, why? Why is this happening? Like, for example, he sends out these 2 TIE fighters. Well, I don't know why he only sends out 2 fighters. They fly in a straight line, and the ship just, crashes through them, and they die. I will say their helmets looked cool. They had, red stripes and the gold thing in them. But they just die, because they're just like, let's just continue flying in a straight line. Even though we see the ship coming towards us, we're just gonna, we're just gonna get destroyed. It's like, could they not have just done this? Guys, you can't tell me you're this stupid. It's just annoying. Why does the Empire keep being stupid? Oh yeah, anyway, also in this episode, Ezra got a kyber crystal from somewhere. It's not explained. He just had an extra one, I guess, and then he just builds a lightsaber. It's like, okay, cool. But then the other thing that bothers me, right, is that they finally resolve this thing between Sabine and Ahsoka. Because at the beginning of the show, they tell us, oh, they had a falling out. They don't explain it, and we're left to wonder the entire series why it is that Ahsoka and Sabine just hate each other for this whole series. It's never explained. It's awkward throughout the entire series. We're given no reason or explanation, right? Then, for whatever reason, the finale, Hayang's just like, oh yeah, so Sabine's whole family died, and then she was feeling really sad about that, and then Ahsoka didn't really help her out much with that, and decided she didn't want to train her because she was worried that, she would just, be turned into Vader again. It's like, okay, cool, great, thanks for telling us that. Why didn't you tell us that at the beginning of the series? There's no reason to hold that till the finale. It would have made the series so much better, because A, it would have given us an explanation as to, oh, this is, explains why Sabine and Ahsoka train together and why they're not anymore. And that would make much more sense why the characters are so awkward throughout the beginning of the show, rather than just, I don't know, they don't like each other for some reason. We're not going to tell you, though. Why did they do that? It's such a stupid decision. And on the other hand, it's like, it would have made that episode 5 thing with the Vader scene, which I still stand by was stupid, if we had had the extra context of Ahsoka is afraid that her apprentice is going to turn out, the way Vader did, right? That would make sense. I could get that. That would make that whole thing make more sense, but they waited until the end to tell us that. Which, again, just further proves my point about the fact that episode 5 was just kind of useless and nothing but fan service. Also, the whole thing is, as soon as they tell us this little bit of information, Huyang just tells this to Ezra, and then Ahsoka and Sabine just, talk for, 2 minutes, and they're back to being friends again. They've made up. It's just that easy. All the problems they have with each other, they're just gone now. They just had a quick chat. It's like, what? I get they were working together throughout the entire series, but still, it's as soon as the audience gets a little piece of information, that somehow just makes everything okay? What? That doesn't make any sense. That's terrible. So anyway, there's some other stuff I kind of hated in this. Morgan, that character, got an upgrade with this magic katana sword thing. It was kind of cool. She was able to go toe-to-toe with Ahsoka and was winning for a while. Then she died. To be fair, there was not much else to do with her character. I totally understand why they killed her off. There was really nothing more for her to do. But, it was kind of cool, I guess. Oh, this might be my biggest problem. Not just with this episode, but with the entire series. Why is it that a bunch of characters just on horses can survive an orbital bombardment It's so stupid. There's literally a Star Destroyer right above them, all shooting down. They all have to just shoot at one point with giant explosive lasers. How are they able to cross like a mile getting shot at and survive? Oh, the Force. The Force protector. Shut up! That's stupid, and you know it. I don't want to see anyone frickin' defending this scene. It's so stupid, and it upsets me. There's only so much I can suspend my disbelief at this point. There is no way you can tell me that every single, laser bolt being fired conveniently missed them. They literally have to shoot at one thing. Sure, it's a moving target. Just shoot in front of them. Just shoot in front of where they're about to ride on the horses. The explosion will be big enough to kill them. How do you shoot to the sides of them? How? It's not possible. It's not even like they're up in space. They're literally like right here. It's so close. It's such a point-blank shot with giant explosive lasers. How does it not work? Why? Why do they keep making the Empire stupid? Do you not see how much this upsets me? God, I hate it so much. Anyway, while we're on the topic of the Empire, they get into another fight. They're fighting stormtroopers again. They all die in 2 seconds because that's all we're good for, apparently. But then the episode did something I actually like, which surprised me. They made the troopers get reanimated by Night Sister magic, which if you remember from my last video, talking about the last episode, I was like, or I think I mentioned this somewhere, where I'm like, dang, it would have been cool if in this new galaxy the stormtroopers were like, infused with Night Sister magic, and they had special powers to make them like super troopers or something. But they did that. They actually did this in finale. They made them zombie troopers, which is cool, because we finally kind of get Death Troopers in canon. If you're not familiar, there's like this old comic or something, I think, about zombie stormtroopers on a ship. I remember it being like all the rage back in like 2015 on YouTube videos and stuff. But that was an old story. And then when Rogue One came out, we got Death Troopers, which were just stormtroopers in like a black armor, which are still very cool. And I will talk about them in this episode later. I was like, oh, so we're probably not going to see any zombie Death Trooper type thing. But no, we've seen zombie troopers, which is so cool because they just like die and then they just keep getting back up. Like, I mean, right in time for October. Like, I love it. Honestly, it was the best part of the episode for me was seeing zombie troopers. It was so cool. Oh yeah, then there's a thing most people are mad about that I really don't care that much about. Sabine's Force sensitive. Like, I saw this coming since they first brought it up at the beginning, where it was like, oh, look at that. She's trying to pull the mug to her hand, but she can't do it. It's like, yeah, okay, I get it. At the end of the show, she's going to do a big Force thing. And it happened exactly how I thought it was going to happen. Like, wow, she pulled her lightsaber to her right when she needed to. But then they made it ridiculous by having her able to just Force push Ezra. Like, I think there's a big difference between that, right? Am I the only one that thinks that, like, you unlock the Force pull skill, but the Force push is a different skill you have to unlock. That's not, like, whatever. I guess Force is just whatever the writers want it to be these days. But still, it doesn't bother me that much because midichlorians, blah, 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 I don't care. I will say, though, Sabine and Ezra fighting the Death Troopers was awesome because we had 2 Death Troopers. I would say finally lore-accurate Death Troopers being able to go toe-to-toe with Jedi. Also, you could see, like, when their helmet got kind of destroyed, they were also zombies. Because they had like a kind of like melted, like deformed face kind of looking thing. So that was cool. The Death Troopers are not actually Death Troopers. So that's cool. I think that's kind of awesome. Also, what's up with Ahsoka and Sabine just staying behind? They're just fine with that. They don't want to go back to the main galaxy. Can't they just find another space whale? I thought this is where all the space whales like migrate to. Can't they just find one and go back? Do the space whales not go backwards? How do they get to the main galaxy then? Is it... I don't know. Also, here's the thing I mentioned at the beginning. I have such a big problem with this. Why was Thrawn just okay with, like, a ship leaving his hangar and Ezra being on it? Like, did he not notice, like, we finally made it back to the main galaxy. There's a ship leaving my hangar. Should I investigate? Nah, it's probably fine. Like, huh? It's never explained. It's just like, oh, Ezra's in a stormtrooper outfit, and he stole a ship. And nobody noticed. Like, what? Huh? Even The Last Jedi got this right. When Rose and Finn steal a ship, there's TIE fighters chasing them. Like, at least, they gave chase. Even though the First Order was, like, had their whole capital ship just destroyed, they were still able to notice a ship leaving. So, holy crap, The Last Jedi got a concept better than Ahsoka? People are gonna murder me for saying that. And then, Anakin Force Ghost at the end, because, of course, they need to throw another Anakin cameo into this show. I'm still mad about Episode 5. It was stupid. It served no purpose other than fan service. That's just how it is, guys. Everyone's like, oh, it was teaching a lesson. What lesson? Nobody can agree on what the lesson is. You can't do the job for the writers, alright? The writers did not give a lesson. They just put all that stuff in there because Dave was like, fans will like this. They'll eat this up. They'll love it. And that was the only reason. Also, why did Balin and Shin only show up at the end of the finale to do literally nothing? God, they're the best characters in the show and they do nothing with them. God. Ugh. It's so annoying. And the thing is, like, you know, Balin was on top of the giant, you know, statue of the father or whatever his name was. The Mortis arc from the Clone Wars that all the Clone Wars nerds love so much. I don't even like it. It's so stupid. It's like, oh, there are Force gods and they align with Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan and they blah, 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 blah. It's so annoying. I thought that arc was stupid. All right, I don't care. I don't care what you think. I thought it was stupid. All right, you can't. On a more serious note, Ray Stevenson, as Balin, was the best part of this show. Honestly, I really did think he was probably the best thing in the whole show because he had great acting. Pretty much every line he delivered was great. He was the most interesting character in the show, being kind of like a Jedi, but, you know, being like, oh, I want to create something different. Great job with the Balin character. It's the highest praise I will give to this show, is that they got this new character so right. All the pre-existing characters kind of sucked, but this new character was very good. So, rest in peace to Ray. I really wish we had a chance to see more of you. And I'm honestly just, I wish I had seen him, like, before I found out that he died, because it was just like, before the show came out, I was like, hey, this actor in the upcoming show is dead. I'm like, I don't know that guy. But now after watching the show, I wish I had known him better. So, yeah. I really hope Disney does not try to resurrect him using CGI. Please don't do that. That would be so stupid. So yeah, Ahsoka. Overall thoughts, the show sucks if you're not a fan of the stuff that it does. I know that sounds kind of obvious, but seriously though, like, this show is bad unless you like the stuff that it was just being like, oh, look, it's Anakin, look, it's Clone Wars, look, it's Ahsoka, look, it's Star Wars Rebels stuff. If you're not a fan of those things, you have absolutely zero reason to care about pretty much anything that's going on in the show, besides some of the new stuff, like Balin, which is the only real interesting part. Everything else is just like, I don't know what's going on, why should I care? I shouldn't have to watch, you know, like 20 seasons of some other shows just to be able to understand this one show. That's stupid. And before you ask, yes, I watched Clone Wars and Rebels. I just wasn't big fans of them, and I don't like it when I have to have Star Wars stuff rely so heavily on other Star Wars shows like this stuff. Like, sure, The Mandalorian kind of has some references here and other Star Wars stuff, but you don't really need to watch much else Star Wars to be able to follow the story of The Mandalorian. This show, you're completely lost if you haven't seen Star Wars Rebels and the Clone Wars. You're going to have no idea what's going on. And also, you look at it just on its own, if you take out all the fan service and references, there's almost nothing of value in this show. Again, besides Balin, and that's about it. But you take out the fact like, oh, it's Thrawn, oh, it's Anakin, oh, it's this thing, it's this thing, it's this thing. You take all that out, there's nothing left. Like, there's nothing of value. Again, Mandalorian, especially in Season 1, I would say is probably the strongest season. You take out some of the more Star Warsy elements, it still holds up as its own show. Andor especially does this. It holds on its own very well. But this show, it can't hold its own. It doesn't have its own legs. It has to stand on previous existing stuff, which is not good, I would say. And also there's the fact, like, I feel like they didn't even try with this show. They put so much into the marketing budget for this show. Like, every single week, they were putting out tons of advertisements, and leading up to this show, there's so much advertising, but it's way more than Andor, because I don't think they expected much of Andor, and that sucks, because nobody watched it. But this show, they were putting so much in, because they knew that they would get the crazy fan reactions out of it, which they did. I mean, you can look up Ahsoka reaction, and you can find 100 different YouTubers going, oh, it's Anakin, oh, it's Anakin, oh. You can find 100 different people just doing that. It's so easy to do. I honestly considered doing it myself, because it would be such an easy way to make a buck. But I think I have some integrity. And also, like, the show, it just has terrible dialogue. It's so bad. I don't know if it's, like, prequel level bad, but it's close. And some people are like, oh, but that's what Star Wars is like. Star Wars always has bad dialogue. That's not an excuse. That's not a defense that you can use. No, the show has bad dialogue. It could be good. They just knew they didn't have to try, because they knew people would watch this anyways. And wow, people watched it anyways and loved it anyways. And also visuals. There's almost no interesting visuals, except from, like, episode 6, which I think was the only good episode. I mean, some of them were okay-ish, but 6 was the only one that I think was probably the better one. Just because it had some interesting visuals, it focused mainly on the villains, who were the only interesting characters, and that's about it. But overall, I have to say my biggest problem with this series is the fact that there was such a great reaction to it. Because Disney, Lucasfilm, all of them are going to be like, whoa, this show had a lot of people watching, which means there's a lot of money, right? And not very many people watched Andor. So clearly what Star Wars fans want is not good writing. They want cameos. They want fan service. So we're going to do more of that. And they like it when shows are related to other shows, and it makes them feel really like, oh, wow, I watched the other show, so now I get to watch this. So we're going to do exactly what we do with the MCU and just pump out a bunch of content that's all related to each other. We're going to get a ton of Mandoverse content. Aren't you guys so excited? That's literally my nightmare. It's literally my nightmare to see Star Wars turn in the MCU, and it's happening. And people are celebrating it. And I'm like, no, can we not do this? I don't want to have to do this. I'm looking forward to stuff like The Acolyte, stuff that is not based on anything else pre-existing. It's so far removed from other Star Wars stuff that it has to rely on its own good writing. I'm so looking forward to that show being good. Please don't be bad. Please be good, Acolyte. It has to rely on its own self to be good. This show doesn't even have to try. As long as it's got Ahsoka in the name and Ahsoka swings her lightsaber around, fans go crazy. I know there's probably some people be like, oh, look at this guy complaining, look at him whining, Star Wars fans will never be happy, right? I see so much of that stuff, it's like, I know this show can be better. It could be better, which is why it sucks. I get that not everyone is going to like all Star Wars, right? I don't like the prequels, but I get that there are people who do like them. I get there's a lot of people who don't like the sequels. I personally like parts of them. Different things, different strokes for different folks. That's what I love about Star Wars, and I think a concept I don't think many people get. You're not going to like everything in Star Wars when you're a Star Wars fan, because there's so many of us, we're not all going to agree. It's physically impossible. So the thing we can appreciate is that, hey, I like this thing, you like this thing. That's great. But it really sucks when you see stuff like this, because it's like, I know that this could be better. There are so many things in the Ahsoka show that I know could be better. It's not just a personal taste thing for me. It's I know this could be better, and they're not trying because they don't feel like they have to. That's what upsets me so much with this show. So overall, yeah, the show as a whole is just mid. It had some stuff I liked, don't get me wrong. There was some stuff I liked. You can go back and watch all the previous videos I made. I probably said something nice in there. There was some cool stuff. New interesting concepts, new galaxies, cool. A couple of cool fight scenes and whatnot, some cool new characters. There was some great stuff in the show, but all the bad stuff holds it back so much, so I'm giving it a 5 out of 10. I don't usually do number ratings, but I feel like for doing it for this show. Yesterday was a 6 out of 10, today it's a 5 out of 10. Tomorrow it'll probably be a 4 out of 10. The longer I think about this show, the worse it gets. So, for now I'm saying 5 out of 10. It's mid. It's, I think, better than Mando Season 3, but by not much, because at least this show didn't kill off its main villain in the finale after only really being there for like an episode or two in the season. So they didn't kill off Thrawn. It gets an okay. It gets a pass. That's all I have to say on the Ahsoka show. God, I hope I don't have to make many more videos on this show. I just want to forget it exists. But at the same time, we're not going to get much Star Wars stuff until like 2024. So I don't know. I think I might have to figure out some other thing to make videos on, guys. What do you want to see on this channel? Think I could become a gaming channel? I think I could do that. I could play Starfield or Cyberpunk that just got revived. There's all sorts of games I could play. That'd be fun. Because Star Wars is just kind of, we're not gonna have much more of it for a while, so I'll figure something else out. Anyway, this is the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Share the video. Share the video and be like, wow, that was such a great in-depth review by IR Smart, where he really just yelled and screamed for most of it. But he made some good points in there. So share my videos, please. Please. Okay, bye.